a good yontif. A number of years ago, I was sitting with Rabbi Chafer, the Mennal of Beis Rivke in Kfar Chabad, and he told me a story. He told me a story that happened with him. I think it was around Tafshin Chavov. Maybe there was those that were there that will correct the date. He came to the Rebbe for Shavuos Tafshin Chavov, and he went into he was by the Fabrengen, and towards the end of the Fabrengen, it was a long Fabrengen, into the wee hours of the morning. Towards the end of the Fabrengen, the Rebbe started to talk about the Russian Jews. And talking about how, giving them a bracha, how they should get out from behind the iron curtain. The Rebbe went on a lengthy bracha, and he finished with a l'chaim. And the oilam, the crowd that was at the Fabrengen, answered him back a sleepy omen. They were tired, 2 days yontif, into the wee hours of the morning. So they answered back, but it was tired. And the Rebbe, when they answered back in such a fashion, all of a sudden the Rebbe got very, very serious and pale. And the Rebbe moved back from his chair, and he started to say, "What's it worth all the Fabrengens? We talk sikhs, we give a bracha for the Jews from Russia to get out, and such a Eisrotz, it's now such an auspicious moment. Had you answered with all your heart and omid like you were supposed to, then the millions of Jews that were in Russia would have immediately been out of Russia. Mit verspilt an Eisrotz. We lost an auspicious moment." And the Rebbe, Beisrakshus, the Rebbe was very, very emotional. He took the napkins at the table and he threw them on the table. And it was clear that he was distressed from the fact that the reaction of the Hasidim wasn't the way it's supposed to, and we lost the golden opportunity. And it took a little bit of time till everything calmed down. They started to sing a niggin, and the Fabrengen went on. And that's what happened at the end of the Fabrengen. Afterwards, Rabbi Chafer went into Yechidus to the Rebbe after Shavuos. And the Rebbe asked him how's he going back to Eretz Yisrael. And he told the Rebbe he was planning on taking a direct flight back to Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe asked him if he could stop off on the way back in France. There was some kind of a dispute going on amongst the institutions. And he asked him if he could get involved to help iron things out. And he went and he flew back to Eretz Yisrael via France. He sat with the sides, worked out the dispute, and he still had about 3/4 of the day till he had to catch his flight. So he went into the yeshiva in Benoit. Came to the yeshiva in Benoit, and he met Reb Nissen. Went to see Reb Nissen. Reb Nissen, the known mashpia. Those that they say that the Frierdiker Rebbe said in him, a painting of Tanya, sweet soldier, the different expressions that we used. And when he went into Reb Nissen asked him, what happened by the Shavuos Fabrengen? It's not like today that we have, Baruch Hashem, all the different kinds of ways of finding out immediately what's going on. It was in those days that I didn't even think there was a phone then still in the yeshiva. And he asked, what happened by the Shavuos Fabrengen? They used to send in a tape 3-4 weeks afterwards, giving over a little bit what happened by the Fabrengen. So he told him this is what happened by the Fabrengen, and he told him what happened by the end of the Fabrengen, how the Rebbe was so distressed, asked for a bracha, and the oilam slept through the bracha, and we lost the golden opportunity, as the Rebbe said. And he described to him, this is what had happened at the end of the Rebbe. Then he turned to him, and he said to him, he doesn't understand. Why was the Rebbe so distressed from the Chassidim? How were we supposed to know that it was an Eis Rotz and it was such an auspicious moment in heaven? That it depended on our omen if the Russian Jews would be let out of Russia at that moment. How were we supposed to know such a thing? And this looked at him and he told him, he said that he doesn't feel that that's what was bothering the Rebbe, because Chassidim are Chassidim and not the Rebbe's. So what he feels what was bothering the Rebbe, he says that, I'll first say it in Yiddish, he said, aber wohl gewinn genug zugetragen zum Rebbe, wollte man gedacht allein etwas fühlen. If we would have been enough attached to the Rebbe that we were supposed to, we should have felt something. There should have been some kind of a sensitivity. And that was what was bothering the Rebbe. Wo ist die Zugetragenkeit? Where is that attachment? That attachment is what gives us that sensitivity. And he says, and that was the thing that he feels that was bothering the Rebbe. That he felt, where are my boys? Where are my Chassidim? As we stand on Rosh Chodesh, Mismichas to Rosh Chodesh Kyslev, Bechlal Chodesh Kyslev, Chassidish Chodesh, Chodesh Agula, Chodesh Anisim, a month of miracles, a month of Geula. I mean, they remember the Hayol from the Rebbe was all verbringen jede Nacht. Chodesh Kyslev. Every night they verbringen Chodesh Kyslev. It's our month. This is our month. This is the Chassidish Chodesh. So Chassidim, as we sit in Chodesh Kyslev, and Rosh Chodesh Kyslev, the head of the month, when we were zoichet to such a day, I overheard two Chassidim last night by verbringen in 7-7. A young Chassid. He turned to one of my fellow colleagues, and he said to him, "Vos tanzt me? What are we dancing about?" Look, it's Gimel Tavis. And I overheard how he said back, and he says to him, "Tell me, when was the first time you were zoichet to be by the Rebbe?" He said, "Tosher Ches." He says, "Yeah, Ches, Tes, Nun, and Aleph." He says to him, "If it wasn't for Rosh Chodesh Kislev, you wouldn't have Tosher Ches. You wouldn't have Tosher Tes, not Nun. If it wasn't for Rosh Chodesh Kislev, as Rabbi Mochkin mentioned before, we wouldn't have all the Giluyim from Tosher Ches and further. Baruch Hashem, we were zoichet for such a day that we went on and on to receive from the Rebbe what we have till today. All the Giluyim, Hikiyas Man Gulaschem, Lahochin Es Atzmei, Miskoloy Lekulay, the Kabbalah, the Rishitz came. It's all coming from after Tov Shalom Ches. Rosh Chodesh Kislev is the day it launched it, that we should be able to have such things, such messages and such what to live with. A gesunde Chassid. There's a Meister with the Chassid went into the Yechidus, the Friedrich Rebbe tells it over. He went into the Rebbe Marash, and at the end of the Yechidus, the Chassid was tremendous instructions. He was all emotionally charged and getting brachas from the Rebbe and advice from the Rebbe Marash. And he turned to the Rebbe Marash as he was walking out, and he said, with ganzen Herz, with all his heart, he said, "The Rebbe soll sein gesund. The Rebbe should be healthy." And the Rebbe Marash answered him back and he said, "As Chassidim will sein gesund, wird der Rebbe sein gesund. When Chassidim will be healthy, the Rebbe will be healthy. We're all intertwined. We're joined in together. We affect the Rebbe's status. The Rebbe's situation is affected by us. Whether we like it or not, we're all connected. And our health, as healthy Chassidim, is the thing that's moist of health in everything that the Rebbe stands for. And that sugitrogenkeit, that attachment that Rebbe Nissen was talking about, to be attached, to have that feeling, the constant sensitivity, this is something that we have to work on. Especially today. Especially today. Like the Rebbe writes in the Sikha to the Shluchim, he says that a Shliach has two parts to himself. The fact that he's given over to the Mishalech, completely bought to the Mishalech. Mishalech, dedicated to the Mishalech, to the one that sends it. And on the other hand, he has to be his own mitzias to carry out the job, to do things, to think, to do. Like the Rebbe once said, when Hashem told Avraham Avinu to go to that Canaan, he didn't tell him exactly what to do, how to take which knife, what donkey, and so on and so forth. He told him with Columbus, he told him in general, gotta go to that Canaan. And then Avraham Avinu had to use his own seichel, his own midas, his whole makeup to be able to do what he had to do. And we, as we find ourselves today, we have the two tchunas, we have that attachment. The more and more we have that attachment to the Rebbe, that we work on that attachment, that we strengthen ourselves with that attachment, that we should we learn from the Rebbe's Torahs, we do what the Rebbe asks us, the takanas like you just mentioned, the mitzvah from the Rebbe. That attachment makes it so that afterwards, when we go out to do in the world what we have to do, we should be heading in the right direction. We should be doing what the Rebbe wants us to do. How much we need it so much today, that attachment, in order to be able to enable us to do what we have to do. When we think about it for a minute, the Rebbe writes in the Sikha when he spoke to the Kiddush HaShulchan 13 years ago, the Rebbe mentioned the point about that from time to time there's a different gate, a shah, that everything goes through that gate. And that gate changes from time to time. What is the main gate that everything else that we're doing goes through? I remember when the Rebbe came out with Miftzit Tefillin, my father wrote into the Rebbe a letter before Rosh Hashanah Pidyon. And those that remember in those days, many of us would receive to our homes a letter from the Rebbe, either in Elul or in the middle of Tishrei, a letter for a Shabbat Torah from the Rebbe, a bracha. And many of us, those that were living in Ori Asoda, as we say, Toronto, Montreal, the different steps, Detroit, we would wait for the day when the Rebbe's letter would come for the Birchas Shana Torah that he would give us. And that year, after the Rebbe came out with Miftzit Tefillin, Father wrote in the Pidyon, and we got a letter back from the Rebbe. Of course, the letter was written in front of Adam Mishpachim, and at the end of the letter, not even as a PS, at the bottom of the letter, the Rebbe adds on with its Ksav Yad, Miftzit Tefillin, question mark. Miftzit Tefillin, question. The shah, the gate at that time. And I remember that then my father over Shalom said, Daf Mechalazai, and we started to go out together with him on Fridays to different stores, to different places, to the old age home, to go out and Miftzit Tefillin. It was the beginning stages. I remember talking about the Rambam. I remember seeing a tzedel, a yid wrote into the Rebbe that he has tremendous chodsh. He owes a lot of money. So the Rebbe wrote him back, and he said to him, it was after the Takot of the Rambam already. The Rebbe writes back and he says, well, you'll take care of the chodsh that you have in your shurim in the Rambam. All the broken that you haven't learned yet, the Rebbe should tell them that your chodsh, your gashet to the chodsh will also. A shar, a gate. The gate was the limit of the Rambam, the product of the Rambam. Maybe that's why we're having such financial difficulty lately. The Rebbe wrote us that the shar that we find ourselves today in, we have to prepare ourselves and prepare the world for the coming Mashiach. Prepare ourselves and the world for the coming Mashiach. And many times I've looked at the Sikha. And at the end of the Sikha, as I mentioned it a lot of times when I speak at different functions, then it says at the end of the Sikha, in that famous Sikha of Shabbos Parshas Chayesod Tov Beis, the Rebbe writes that one of the ways of bringing it down, the Hamshach, bringing down Mashiach to come as soon as possible, is by the good resolution that all the shluchim make to learn the whole Sefer Torah or Lakutei Torah from beginning to end. It's 13 years from when the Rebbe said this. Many times I've turned to my friends, colleagues, and I've said to them, no, we were all by that fabric. We all heard what the Rebbe said. We all read afterwards, Mugedik, Reb Zusha Partizan, my Mashpim used to always tell me, a Mugedik is Sicher in the Rebbe, a Sicher in the Rebbe, everything. Chodesh Hashem Samelch. It has the insignia of the king on it. It's a Toinish Biksav. It has his insignia. A Mugedik is Sicher in the Rebbe. And the Rebbe writes, as to be able to bring it quicker, the Mashiach should come, the Shluchim take upon themselves the resolution of learning ganz Torah or Likutei Torah from Haschalos HaTzorah. The whole Sefer Torah Likutei Torah, a parsha should move from beginning to end. And I turned to many of my colleagues, and I said to them, new fellows, how many of us have done it? It's now 13 years. We all want Mashiach to come. We all want to be reunited to be able to be together with the Rebbe. But then when it comes down to the bottom line, all of a sudden, we take the stock about what's going on. You know when this came to me also, this hit me. It hit me because I had once a fellow that I came to Toronto and I turned to a fellow in Toronto that wasn't even a frum guy. He used to live close to the Lubavitcher Shul way back. And when I told him that the Rebbe said, "He is man Alaska, Mashiach is coming, you got to get ready," he on the spot, ordered by me, he moved into his new house on the spot. He ordered 26 mezuzahs because he didn't have mezuzahs in his house. And he told me, I don't want Mashiach to chop my house without mezuzahs. And within a half a day, I brought him in 26 mezuzahs and we put it up. And as I was leaving his house, I asked myself the question. That's what he did when he heard the message of the Rebbe. What did I do when I heard the message? Who's geboren by mir Asdose? Where was there a movement by me or something? And then I started to think, as the years go by, a Kalora Sikha from the Rebbe Zontacham is learning ganz Torah Likutei Torah from the beginning to end, and this didn't happen. I thought about it many times. I came to a certain conclusion when you think about it yourself. And I said to myself, you know what? You know what I think probably why by myself? You can't always spoil by Zechazaza. It didn't happen by me yet. It's because I said, I probably really don't believe that that's what's going to make it or break it. I really don't believe that it's going to make a difference if I will learn the whole Torah and Likutei Torah. Because if I would really believe that that can make it or break it, then of course I would be doing it. Elamai, you know, there was a sticker that once came out. They have it, you see it every so often. It's in Hebrew, it says, Harebi Hiftiach, Harebi Yikayem. The Rebbe promised, and the Rebbe will fulfill. So many times I looked at the sticker and I said, it's a sticker like, you know, the Rebbe promised, the Rebbe will fulfill, I can sit off to the side. The Rebbe is telling us, Kol Yemei Chayecha, we have to bring it. I once had a bicycle. I used to write duchas to the Rebbe. I used to write reports to the Rebbe. I used to travel around there to show different things. As I was getting more and more active, I was seeing more and more things, and I decided I can't allow the things that I'm seeing just to remain by myself. I have to let the Rebbe know. The Mishalech, the Rebbe sent me there to show. I got to let him know what's going on. So I started writing periodically letters to the Rebbe, reports about different things that are going on in different moistness that I see, different communities. One of the times I used to write in was when I used to take my annual trip to the Rebbe for Shavuos. So on the plane I would sit and had time on the plane, no one's bothering me in the plane, I would sit down and write a long letter with all the different things of what's going on in this. One year, I think it was in Tufshin, in Zion, I sat on the plane for Shavuos and I wrote an 8-page letter. And I wrote, number one, I had like a headline, what I wanted to write. Number two, headline, this, so that the Rebbe should be able to see the headlines he wants. He wants to read, he doesn't want to read. 8 pages, all about the different things that are going on in Eretz Yisrael. And I put it in, came into right when for the trip, I came straight to 770, put it into mosquitoes, and every day I mosquitoes, the Rebbe's secretaries, to ask him how an answer. And there was no answer. Went through Shavuos, went through a couple of days after Shavuos. I was getting ready to leave. It was the day I was leaving. I went into mosquitoes, and I told her, Glable girl, I said, listen, there's no answer for the Rebbe. I'm going back today. If there'll be an answer, you'll call me and let me know the answer. Okay. Where are you going? When are you going? I told him. So where are you going to be? I said, I'm going to my brother's house, packing my bags, and I'm leaving. I go back to my brother's house, I pack my bags, order a taxi. I get into the taxi. All of a sudden, my brother shouts from the window. And he tells me, wait. I said, your blade will call. There's an answer for the Rebbe. Go through 770 and pick up the answer. I'm upset. I was all excited. I come to 770. I walk into the Rebbe's secretaries to the mosquitoes. I go inside. And the blade tells me, here's the answer. He shows me etc. And I take a look. And I can't tell you right now the exact lashon, but the gist of it. The Rebbe writes to me, Mikol HaDvarim shekasafta. From all the things that you wrote, Harei Yonim Klolim B'Yosef. It's klal. It's the general things that are going on in Eretz Yisrael. V'Yonim shetzrichim tikkun b'chul. Things that need to be rectified and fixed, etc. So the Rebbe writes, no, with a big question mark and exclamation. I see such etc. I was pushing forward. I wrote it down. And there was a little bit of money, shliach mitzvah guilt. And I took the taxi further, and I was swimming on the way to the airport, thinking about the second. What it was? I never had such a second. I get onto the plane, I sit down, and I'm thinking and looking and thinking and looking, and then all of a sudden I have Pashat. The Rebbe is telling me Pashat. Till now, you wrote to me like a news reporter, like a spectator. No. Hey, well done. Get involved. Start doing the things to be fixed. Du makes us with them with the shipes where you think that by writing to me, you got it off your chest, and that's it. And the Rebbe was done. So on the other hand, I said to myself, it's not only that the Rebbe is telling me stop being a spectator and a news reporter. He's giving me conscious I should stop being a news reporter and a spectator. He's letting me know that you could do something about it. I got elevated another level, telling me such a thing. But the truth of the matter is, the Rebbe told us all the same thing. Don't just sit off to the side. Don't just think that I'm going to be the one that promises and I'm going to be the one that fulfills. Kol Yemei Chayech L'Hovin, you people, every one of you, every one of us, we're all in it. We have to be the ones that are doing something to make it happen. L'Hovin L'Hovin. Doesn't L'Hovin. This is what it means, L'Hovin. That's what the Rebbe wants us. He wants us to get involved and to be doing. And if we would really think that it makes it or breaks it, we would look at it entirely different. God's Torah, or look at the Torah that Rebbe writes. We're at the Bar Mitzvah year of the Sikha. So first of all, I like to say L'Chaim and the Chassidische Fabrenim. When we make Achlotas Poivus, it says Achlota Berabim. It's in the Sinis Koyev. It gives us the ability to be able to carry through. It's about time that we get into this Shir Shirim to look at the Torah, and then we get L'Sest of Torah and all the other Maimonim, that we should be able to finish it off from beginning to end, like the Rebbe said, because that's what brings down the Shokol Amata. L'Chaim, L'Chaim. Noise. In addition to that, when we talk about the Tzugitrovkat, of our attachment, and what the Rebbe wants from us, when when the Rebbe told us by Hey Tevis, the Dan with the Svarim. The Rebbe told us afterwards on the Shabbos after Hey Tevis, Im du hochen kolchem lepinye beis hamikdash hashlishi. Stand everyone together, ready for the building of the third beis hamikdash. And the Rebbe said, what does it mean? Does it mean that we should all stand and pack our bags and just wait till the beis hamikdash is going to come down? And the Rebbe then said, no. He told us at that sikha, he told us a Gevissa Nikuda, which is mamish negayat us in our whole styles. He told us that when we're waiting for Mashiach, like the Frierdiker Rebbe said in the famous sikha, that even though sometimes the Mishkan was put up just for one day, everything was done as we traveled in the Midbar, even if it was for one day. Every single day that passes that Mashiach hasn't come, we should be involved. We should be doing everything that we have to do. Ella, how does it express itself that we're waiting for? It expresses itself by the fact that in everything that we do, we think how this action that we do might be the thing that tips the scale. It might tip the scale. In everything that we do, we should think about the Rambam, how it tips the scale. And the Rebbe says that's how we take our yearning and waiting, and it becomes an active yearning and active waiting. Because everything that we look at that it might tip the scale. By the first satellite, when the Rebbe finished the Sikha by the first satellite on Chanukah, he said at the end of the Sikha, we don't know why he hasn't come till now. Maybe, he says, when we give out the matbeis, when we give out the coins to the kids, to give tzedakah, that will tip the scale. This is a kind of a look, an approach, that the truth of the matter is it's something that we have to work on also, that everything get tipped to scale. And when we look at things like that everything get tipped to scale, it gives us a completely different seriousness about everything we're doing. Every bracha that's made, every chinuch, every Indian chinuch that we do, every mitzvah that we do, everything that we do can possibly tip the scale. The Rebbe says that when he sent us all on the shlichus, and we're all on the shlichus, just like when Avraham Avinu sent Eliezer, Eved Avraham, he gave him everything that he owned. And the Rebbe tells us the same thing. That he gives us everything that he has in order for us to be able to do tzedakah in our shlichus. Each and every one of us. When we went on our shlichus into Eretz Yisrael in Tovshin Lamed Ches, in 1979, the Rebbe sent us a letter, and he described the different things that he wants us to do in the shlichus. And at the end of the letter, he writes, Bli neder ishtadel lazer lekol echad echad. Bli neder, I will try to help each and every one of you. This is what he wrote to us as a shlichus. I remember, as I was offered to become the Rov in Rehovot of the Lubavitcher Kehillah, I wrote it to the Rebbe. And after a month, the Rebbe answered me on the Rehovot, Kein Yaseh B'Shol Toit Mitzlachas Askel Etzi. But as soon as I let the VAD, the 5 board members of the community of Rehovot, as soon as I let them know that the Rebbe actually gave me a positive reply to become the